Today, we're talking all things discounts on Shopify with Sammy, the founder of Discount Kit. The best compliment a Shopify app can receive is that it feels like it's part of the platform, and Discount Kit fits that bucket. Since Shopify Functions opened up the ability to expand the capabilities of discounting, Discount Kit has been there, building out simple interfaces so that e-commerce teams can build promotions without relying on developers. If I want to find out whether something is possible with Shopify Functions, I often see if Discount Kit can do it before diving into Shopify's API docs. But enough of me talking about how powerful Discount Kit is. Let's get into our chat with Sammy. This is the Shopify App Show. We've been using discount codes for a long time. Is this the year that the discount code is dead? Is it on life support, or is it stronger than ever and about to have a rebirth?
I do personally like the concept of always having your discounts automatic. The customer feels like they're always getting the best deal, and it kind of creates this, it reduces friction in the shopping journey. I never really liked the idea of discount codes personally. I think they should have died ages ago, but people still tend to love them, and there are good use cases for it, to be fair. So yeah, I don't think it's the year they die, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that. It's interesting to see how it's evolving now from a time when, back when we started building on the platform, that was really the only way to discount things. And then, Shopify scripts came along, which was sort of the opposite of that, where you needed a Ruby developer to write a discount promotion for you. But I'll get you to tell me a little bit about Discount Kit and how you sort of fell into I think almost it seems to me like a bit of a sweet spot app where you were the right person at the right time, building something for Shopify Functions, and I guess sort of the wave of changes to the platform in the last couple of years. So I'd love to hear the story a little bit, and also just from a technical perspective, how you've combined all of those things.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when we first started in Shopify, so we're a small app agency called Optizio. We run 3 apps, soon to be 4, hopefully, but they're all discount related. And the first app we built in the space was called Stackable, and it was essentially a workaround app where it worked around the limitation of only having 1 discount per order. So I don't know if you remember, I guess that was sort of time you couldn't do it. So that was our entry into the Shopify world, really. It was from the get-go discounts. And it was kind of a complex app, especially compared with something like Discount Kit, which is much simpler. It would basically listen for cart changes, and then it would take the current cart and it would run it through a discount engine. And then it would dynamically generate a discount code. So like a basic Shopify discount code or a draft order. So there were sort of 2 modes to it. And then it would forward the customer to either auto-apply the discount code or be forwarded to pay the invoice of the draft order that was created. So yeah, that was kind of a crazy time. Like you had to do those crazy workarounds. But really interestingly, it fell into that pattern of, the cart changes, you run some logic, and then you apply some discounts. So when Functions came along, we felt really well placed. It was the same pattern, the same architecture as we'd already built for Stackable. And actually also Stackable's discount engine was already written in Rust. And so we already had, 3-4 years of production Rust experience. So yeah, it kind of did feel a lot like right time, right place. I think Discount Kit was the first app, or in the first tranche of apps that use Shopify Functions in production. So we work quite closely with the team, kind of figuring out all the niggles and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you a story. I actually, back when Discount Kit first came out, because I read API docs because I have to, not because I want to. And when I was getting my head around Shopify Functions, I actually used Discount Kit to actually work out what was possible with Shopify Functions, because it seems like you'd aligned and you were shipping so fast with any capability that Shopify Functions had. Discount Kit was able to provide the interface for that. So, was that your intention, was to essentially, as soon as the API came out, you'd build an interface for it and then essentially make it possible for people to actually use those discounts without needing a developer to jump in?
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the plan, essentially a layer on top of Shopify Functions. And it started with discounts, of course. That was the first one that they released, I think, along with payment customizations or one other one. So yeah, that was really, can we expose the power of Shopify Functions or discount functions, without needing a developer, without needing to write code? So yeah, hit the nail on the head. That's exactly kind of what we were going for. And just spot on.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
do you still, have you kept up? Are you still up to date with everything that's possible within the discount APIs?
Yeah, I mean, we live and breathe this stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's it's every day. If there's any changes, we know about it. We're pretty particular in what we do and what we don't do. But yeah, it's there's some stuff that I think that needs to come. There are still some limitations in what you can do. We try to keep our eyes open for any changes because we think there are really good opportunities for app developers to take advantage of any new function material that comes out. There are a lot of really good apps, not Discount Kit, that take on all of the other function types that seem to have fallen into the same pattern where they're able to ship really fast because they focus on one thing really well.
I'm excited to say today's episode, where also for the first time we've actually got a sponsor for today's episode of the Support Heroes. So yeah, I couldn't have thought of a better sponsor to have for this show when they reached out to me, because their product supports independent app developers all over the world, just like we're trying to do with this show. And I believe Discount Kit actually use the Support Heroes as well. Sammy, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We onboarded with them late last year, and yeah, it's really important for us because we're all based in the UK, and you know what the time zone is like. It's early morning for you and late at night for me. So yeah, we have merchants from around the world, and Support Heroes sort of helps us to provide a consistent experience, regardless of where in the world they are. So it's been a really, really brilliant experience, and it's taken a lot of pressure off our core development team. So yeah, we're in love with it so far.
Yeah, fantastic. And how do you recreate that experience where like people, when they email and you are doing the support tickets 24/7, which so many app developers do, how do you A, let go of that, and B, how do you keep the quality there and make sure that they are having proper meaningful conversations with people?
I think the nice thing with Support Heroes is they're dedicated to Shopify apps, pretty much. At least I think they are. So, they are all experts in how, the Shopify admin works and all of this sort of stuff. So they're not just regular first line support, they're experts in Shopify. So I think there is, it is very difficult at first. You have to kind of let go and trust other people to look after, what you've built. And a lot of our success has come from excellent support. And yeah, I think what we do is we make sure that we have 2 hours every day, every single day of our workday, that can be booked by any brand that wants to catch up with us or any agency that wants to catch up with us. And that's part of what we offer. So you have this 24/7 support. They always escalate to us. We have the right channels set up for escalation. And, in the end, if you really want to or need to talk to us or just want to catch up, we always make ourselves available, and that will never change. That's one of the core things that we want to do.
It's easy to have an AI bot that, can often be pretty poor quality, the communications it has. So that the Support Heroes, I believe they're supporting over 100 Shopify apps with, and 40 app agencies across the world. And so, I encourage everyone to check them out. The supportheroes.com is their website. And so, and I'd love to hear a little bit about the sort of the merchants you're dealing with, because I'm sure you get, like I know I deal with lots of different Shopify merchants as well. And it's amazing how hard they can make it to do what sounds like simple stuff of creating discounts and promotions. There's lots of edge cases. What are some of the more complex situations that you're seeing that are filling your support inboxes that the platform can't do at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's significantly better than it used to be. I'd say, we hit 95% of use cases with what we have today already, or like a really high percentage. That's not a scientific number, just, off the top of my head. I think there's a real limitation in discount stacking still. There's no real concept of ordering, and the discount combinations is actually quite limited. So, you can say product discounts don't combine with product discounts, but they do combine with order discounts. But I think a lot of merchants and brands sort of really want more granular control,
Mm.
over, I want, discount A to combine with discount B, but not discount C, regardless of the discount class or
Yeah.
discount level.
Yeah. And
And that
it's
seems to be the
interesting.
one that comes up.
Yeah, it's interesting with the stackable discounts because, like, it's definitely it's a function that needs to exist, and I think it's good that it exists. But I find once you dig into the more complex use cases, it not only becomes more technical for customers to create those, for store owners to create those discounts, it becomes hard for the customer to understand. And I always challenge people on that and say, well, yeah, you do want X to work with promo Y, but not promo Y to work with promo Z. How do you explain that to a customer, let alone the technical team that are trying to implement it and test it? So I feel like there's actually, in some cases, I think the limitations of stackable discounts should actually put it back on the store owner to be just logical and use common sense to create common sense promotions for their customers.
Martin, I completely agree with you,
Yeah.
like 100% the same wavelength. I think simplicity is key for discounts and promotions to work. And it is a very difficult thing to explain. Maybe you should not do this if it's not possible. There's maybe a reason for it.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, every single business is different. And, at the end of the day, they understand their business more than we ever could. And they understand their customers' behavior a lot of the time really well. So there are scenarios where complexity does make a lot of sense. And there are certain types of stores, I think, that it fits. But yeah, most of the time if it's difficult for you to explain something, then your customer is not going to understand it, full stop. So, if you're going back and forth, we do have to tell people that sometimes, you can't do this with discount kit, but, we recommend you don't do this in a nice way,
Yeah.
might not be the best idea.
It certainly takes some diplomacy, doesn't it? Especially when you're in the app store, you never want to get a 1-star rating because you gave some honest feedback to a customer. But look, I think I don't want to. I didn't mean to touch so much on the limitations of discounting because I actually think that's an area where there's just so much opportunity for people to do stuff. So I maybe just always like to flip the conversation back on the other side and be like, what are some things you've seen people do with discount kit or discounts in general where you've even been genuinely surprised with, what they've been able to do and how creative they've been with what they've done?
Good question. I didn't prepare an answer for something like that.
No, that's all right. Sorry.
No. I mean, I can think of a couple of things, mainly around gift with purchase, actually, where they've built very, very cool gift selectors in their side cart, where in a way that you think shouldn't make sense, but then it just works really, really well for a gift with purchase style discount. I've seen that on a few stores, actually. We've had some that do really interesting discount types based on like the number of unique product types that you get. And then they've built like a bundle builder around it. So this is a furniture store. So kind of like if you buy, a table and a chair, i.e. 2 unique types of product, you get 10% off. But if you get, a cushion, then you get 30% off or whatever. But they built like a really nice bundle builder type flow for this type of custom discount. And I think that works really well for the product that they're selling and how they're selling it and what their messaging is. So it's a complex discount, but the UI is so good around it that it is quite easy to grasp what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I think you touch on some good things there, like that cart piece too. Like I see the same thing. Like businesses seem to have a really great knack for I guess it's where you do know your customer, you know what to put there and how to share it and how to help them do that. And so you've obviously got the mechanism for them to be able to do the discounting part of it really easy. But it's where we do see brands like, I think particularly beauty products like supplements and protein. I've seen them do it really well over the years. And then you touch on furniture as well as sort of the other extreme, but you've got to be able to do pretty custom stuff in that space. And I was going to move on to asking you about your discount kit live feature that came out, I think it was late last year, you launched that. And so you're starting to now dabble into that UX space and building the UX to go with the discounts, because traditionally that's always been probably one of the most difficult things, aside from the discount stacking, is actually being able to allow people to then have product badges and messaging and banners across the site that are all automated. And it's a nightmare if you've got 10 promos running and they're buy 2 for $100, but then you change it and you've got 14 places to go and change it across your theme and your discounts and stuff. So I'll get you to tell us a little bit about Discount Live and how people are using that.
Yeah, it's a really big pain point that you touch on, kind of the integration between the storefront and the back end. I think the back end logical bit of the discounting is the easy bit that we're very good at. We do also have sort of out the box UI components that you can use in your theme editor. So you can kind of just add them to the product display page, for example, and they work out the box. But I think Discount Kit Live kind of evolved through where Discount Kit is placed in the ecosystem. It tends to be appealing to the larger plus stores and agencies and freelancers, rather than the smaller, let's call them the mum and pop stores on Shopify. So we've kind of tried to narrow down our target market in Discount Kit a lot over the years. And I think now we really know who our target market is, who our customers really are. And what we've seen time and time again is, even though we provide these out-of-the-box widgets and components, they actually very rarely fit in well with the theme. And they very rarely do or have the UX that, the brand wants. And if you think about these brands, I mean, the brands you work with, they're not coming to Overdose for an out-the-box experience. They probably could have done that themselves, maybe with the help of a freelancer, but they want to build an experience that is unique to their business. And that's why they work with these agencies, because they don't want out the box. They want something special and exceptional. And I think just from 6 years working on it, and we've done a lot of storefront work and integrating with apps, it's a very difficult problem to solve, borderlining impossible, I would say, or not worth the complexity, to make something look good across every single theme and to hit every single user experience that people expect. And so Discount Kit Live has evolved from that acceptance and that realization that actually the most important thing is to put the data in the right place and make it accessible at the right time. And so Discount Kit Live is some infrastructure we have running in the background, and it keeps your discounts in sync with some metafields, essentially, that are accessible on the storefront. So we've created a meta object called a discount summary that describes the high-level version of Discount Kit discounts, but also Shopify-native discounts. And then we kind of do the connection the other way. So when you create a discount, you go into Shopify, you go into the discount area, and you say, discount these products by 10% and these products by 20%, et cetera, et cetera. And there's no connection the other way. So this is what Discount Kit Live does, is it goes to the products and goes, these are the discounts that apply to it. And it creates some Scala metafields that will have what's the best discounted value you can get on this product? That's just a simple metafield. And so if you want to go and build a badge in your theme, you literally have to go product.metafields.discountkit.discounts, and you've got the data right there. It's really important that it's metafield driven, because you have access to it server side, with the liquid renderer. And so if you want, search engines to be able to scrape data, or if you want AI agents to be able to scrape that data, you've got to do that server side. The idea of, you render the page and then you load some JavaScript and then you call an API and you find out what the discounts are, and then you run some JavaScript and then you display some widget on the screen, I think it's difficult to make that a good experience, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. And I think I think when selecting apps now, that's the first thing I look for. And in building apps, I think if you're not building apps where the data gets stored in Shopify by default, I think you're doing it wrong today. There's times in the past you had to store it elsewhere. And I think I have a lot of respect for people back when you're building Stackable, as you said, you build a product that is probably a product you're equally proud and not proud of, because you should be proud of the complexity you managed to achieve with the tools you had. But if you looked back at what you built now, you'd be pretty horrified by it. Whereas now, with the ability to put stuff into metafields and build those syncs, like you've nailed it there, and it just gives people so much more flexibility. Like, and especially as you've got tools like Sidekick now, where like I love just jumping into Sidekick and mucking around with this stuff, where you go in and say, hey, build a big flashy banner for our 20% off t-shirts promotion this weekend, and pull in this metafield. And you can build like promo banners and stuff that just pull that stuff in by default. And like, I think in the promotional space as well, you need to be able to be nimble, and you don't want to have to be tapping in developers who can understand an API just to tell people that you're having a sale for the weekend. So I encourage anyone to jump in and have a play around with that, because and also look for apps that are doing that too, because if an app stores it in Shopify metafields, whether it be product metafields or customer metafields, it just means that you can surface that information so much easier, and sync it through Shopify Flow to Klaviyo or whatever you need, and really takes it out of your hands too, doesn't it? It allows people to self-service.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, exactly. Everyone has their own development team already. So, but I couldn't agree more, honestly. I think I remember speaking with some of the guys at Smile, if you know the Smile app. Like a loyalty app. And we spoke about this, on a call maybe last year. And we kind of talked about how, there are sort of everything apps. There are these apps in the Shopify space trying to do everything in one go. But their theory was, focus on one vertical, one feature, but make sure that you integrate with essentially what is Shopify glue, right? If Discount Kit puts data in metafields, any other app can read from it, and vice versa. And so it makes integrations between apps, as well as for building, storefront experiences. You can do things like feed data straight through to Google Merchant Center with these calculated discount values, right? So you get like all of your latest discount data and promotion data in Google Shopping, for example. And with UCP coming, it's going to be the same kind of thing, right? How do you let these agentic commerce agents know what discounts are available in your store? So that's a story yet to be told, I suppose. But I think we're kind of preparing for that. Context is everything nowadays. Like, how do you give people the right information at the right time? So it's a little bit of work, right? So there's pros and cons with it, but I'm excited about it because a lot of people have started using it. Honestly, we're a little bit worried that it was a bit of a step too far in expecting people to kind of build their own thing. But really, that's the most flexible way.
Yeah, that's it. And I've seen that too, where like sometimes people can be a little bit of a harder sell to people than I think it's going to be, because to me it's brilliant and amazing and just gives so much flexibility. But sometimes people do just want something that does it all for them and makes it really, really simple. But as you say, like things like integrations, I think I almost feel like most apps shouldn't even have a list of integrations anymore. If they work with Shopify Flow and you've got a Flow connector at either the trigger end or the action end, depending on how your app works, then you've got, or even better, you can just use steps that already exist in Shopify Flow. Then you've got the framework for people to be able to do any integration, and then it's just a matter of finding those actual gaps where there's things that people are wanting to do repeatedly, where it might be easier to build an integration, which is usually just a template that you could build within the platform, but making it easier for people.
Yeah, 100%. And back to the sort of storefront integration, we've got a couple of freelancers that we know have built like little libraries of, how to build certain things like gift with purchase selectors and things. So for them, the amount of effort it takes to integrate with Discount Kit is super low, and it's almost like a selling point that they have is, they can go to a brand and say, you want to do this type of experience. Here's a demo of, what I've got. And we can do that in 3 days instead of 3 weeks, So pretty happy with Discount Kit Live, honestly. I think we made the right call there.
Yeah,
early
absolutely.
days, but
Yeah, no, and again, it's worth playing around with, and it just makes it feel like, to me, I feel like I'm I'm sucking up to you a bit too much today because I'm a discount kit fanboy. And I think, like, to me, it really, again, feels like it's almost just part of the platform once you install it. And so you've aligned with that. And I look at apps like Checkout Blocks is the other one, which ended up getting acquired by Shopify a couple of years ago. I feel like Discount Kit almost fits in that same level where it just makes Shopify Functions feel like they're part of the platform. And so I guess I wonder, like, do you feel like there's parts of your app that should just become part of the platform, or where do you see, like, what should Shopify be doing to continue to improve that discount experience?
Yeah, I think that's a difficult question. I think
Yeah.
the checkout blocks example is a really unique scenario, honestly, where checkout.liquid was going away. I think Gil did a really excellent job in building checkout blocks. It really dominated the market if you think about it with the big plus stores. And I think we're in a different situation. It's a much more competitive marketplace that we're in. So, I mean, I wouldn't say no to being acquired, of course, but we're open to that. But I think it's less of an obvious thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've definitely gone for that, be a part of the platform. And I think in the new AI world, that's becoming more and more of a safe bet. Shopify is taking the lead in agentic commerce, and I'm pretty sure, I'm just guessing, so I might have to eat a hat, but the apps are going to be able to take advantage of that positioning by the platform. And I think by putting yourself close to it, you're essentially betting that Shopify is going to win, right?
Yeah.
And we're committed. If Shopify fail for whatever reason, then we fail as well. So fitting in with the platform is a bit of a no-brainer for us. I think it's kind of silly to do multi-platform in the modern day and age. Yeah, yet to be seen. Could totally be wrong. But yeah, I think also what we do is only really discount functions right now. I think we had some plans and some ideas of basically expanding it to many different function types. Right now, we're sticking to what we're good at and what we're very knowledgeable about. We have 6 years of merchant feedback on what type of promotions they want to run and what they find difficult and what their pain points are. And that's really where our expertise is,
Yeah.
So we're kind of taking advantage of that as much as possible.
And there's still opportunities in the discount function space around stuff like B2B and markets. That's probably, we touched on Stackable a bit earlier, but that's probably the other minefield that we're seeing a lot of at the moment. So I can imagine you're supporting a lot of people through how to do that.
Yeah, we can definitely see very clearly this sort of migration from multiple Shopify instances to one core instance with many markets. We see it pretty much day on day. And yeah, I think right now there's some really amazing stuff coming in markets where, you have retail locations can be markets, and company locations can be markets, as well as actual regional markets as well. In Shopify Functions, you right now only get access to regional markets. And interestingly, it shows deprecated for the current market input into Shopify Functions. One would imagine, what you can take from that is there's probably a change coming to Shopify Functions soon, I would imagine. That sort of fits more with, the pattern that they've built up. And that will be really good for things like B and also just regional markets in general.
Yeah.
And for location, location-based discounts are a really big part of Discount Kit. Over the last year, that's one of the big features they released, is to be able to do that essentially natively in Functions, is to target specific retail locations.
Yeah.
And more people do have point of sales as well as online stores than you think. It's very, very common.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's an interesting scenario too, where like they've kind of built all these wonderful things like markets, B2B, and the catalog structure behind that's fantastic. But yeah, there are lots of use cases there for those catalogs to not just apply to, like one location. And like in Australia, where I'm based, we're such a huge country with very big geographical differences. And if you're selling particularly like large products like furniture or bicycles or whatever it is, you may need to have different pricing that's state-based or even store-based rather than just targeting the whole of Australia as one. And so that's interesting what's happening under the hood there, because I think it will open so many opportunities particularly for those that want to have that omni-channel experience. So yeah, it's
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think especially for the location-based catalogs was a very, very, very big feature request, over the last few years. So I think that's a really, really big win for sure.
uh,
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think, we'll be taking advantage of anything that comes in that space, of course.
yeah, absolutely. And look, I'm going to wrap it up now. And I think, look, I could talk about this stuff all day, to be honest. I'd love to drill down into having a separate chat just about markets and discounts or, stackable promos. But yeah, I'd love to just, finish up by, thanking you for the chat, and also just for, I think you've really led the Shopify community in terms of setting the example for how to use functions and how to actually build out promotions, in a way that, I think balances technical capability with common sense and great UX. And so, I really look forward to seeing what comes next. So if you haven't already, look for Discount Kit on the App Store. It's pretty easy to find. I think it's usually on page 1 of everything. And look, we'll catch you again for another episode soon. So thanks so much, Sammy.
Thank you so much for having me, Martin. Really appreciate it. Pleasure to chat.